talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. If she be down the ride, oh, I bet that.
Hello everybody, my name is JH. Everybody good, everybody cool, everybody clean, everybody crisp, everybody irie. Let's talk. I was watching this video that you're about to witness and I'm not comfortable with it. I mean, I'm really not comfortable with it. We out here in these postal streets trying to survive the postal hood, you see me? And it looks like our own people are sabotaging us. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading too deep into it. And this is just my opinion. Again, I am nobody. I'm just a truck driver. But when we have people out there that have to worry every single day whether or not they're gonna make it back because of a lack of investment in something more than just the key. I mean, even my own home, I got a punch pad lock, cost $30. $30. We got our carriers walking around with keys. We got our truck drivers walking around with keys. This don't apply to everybody, but it should. I'm being told by this man that the postal police's only job is to protect mail at real facilities, not the employees. What? Y'all, just listen to this. And this is a conversation. Exchange it how you want to. Be respectful with each other, but there's something that's got to give here, like postal union. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. I mean, I can only hold a fake smirk on my face because I think it's comical. We touch every home in America. We are the only people that touch every home in America. But we can't have no protection? What's really good? Let's you know what? I'm not even gonna comment after it. I'm gonna just leave that with some food for thought. Y'all let me know what you think.
It's an alarming trend that's happening across the country. Mail carriers are being robbed and people are having their mail stolen. The Postal Inspection Service is the investigative branch of the USPS that looks into these crimes. Frank Albergo is president of the Postal Police Officers Association. Frank, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So there are postal inspectors and postal police officers. What's the difference and what does each one do?
Well, postal inspectors are criminal investigators. Think of them as detectives in a municipal police force, and postal police officers are uniformed cops. We have more of a preventative function, at least we once did. In the summer of 2020, the inspection service reinterpreted the law to restrict postal police officers to postal real property. So we're protecting buildings. We are no longer protecting mail, and we are no longer protecting postal workers.
So Frank, tell us a little bit more about postal police officers. How are they trained? Do they have some of the same privileges as police officers to make arrests? You mentioned they can only work on postal property now.
So postal police officers have the exact same defensive tactics, officer survival training as postal inspectors. We, at one point, we patrolled streets, we patrolled letter carrier routes, we patrolled areas where blue collection boxes were most vulnerable. And then the Postal Service decided that that wasn't a good use of postal police officers. They did this when a mail theft epidemic was starting to emerge. And since they benched the postal police force, a absolute explosion in mail theft and attacks on carriers ensued. It doesn't make much sense. And then they have refused to put postal police officers back on the street. I mean, it was an obvious mistake. It was an all-time blunder. and they're sticking to it. It's really hard to believe.
During a congressional hearing in September, you told lawmakers that the number of postal police officers has significantly shrunk over the last 2 decades. What do those numbers look like now?
Right now, there are 348 active postal police officers, and there are about 70 supervisors, so sergeants, captains. At one point, we were at 2,700 officers. That was years ago. About a decade ago, we were about at 1,000. And now, basically, they're dismantling the postal police force. Now, they won't admit that, but our attrition rate far exceeds our hiring rate. So every year, the number of postal police officers are dwindling. It's happening during a mail theft epidemic, which is remarkable.
You know, I want to ask you about what you mentioned before, which was that decision to no longer allow postal police to operate off of postal property. I wonder what were they doing before that, and what were they able to do?
Well, postal police officers patrolled areas where postal-related street crime was most prevalent. We were deterring postal-related street crime. We were making arrests. We were, doing what cops do.
But I guess
crime.
I guess the argument, Frank, is why isn't the local police doing that?
Well, local police, quite frankly, don't have the resources to devote entirely to mail theft. I mean, the Postal Service has a law enforcement agency. It's called the Inspection Service. Postal inspectors have other things to worry about besides mail theft. Postal police officers, on the other hand, can actually devote 100% of their resources to mail theft prevention and the protection of postal employees. But we're confined to postal real property. It doesn't make sense. I mean, what police force doesn't use all its resources during a crime wave? I mean, this is essentially what's happening with the Postal Service. I mean, the Postal Service is destroying its brand. I mean, every day a carrier is robbed, mail is being stolen, bank accounts are being drained, identities are being stolen, and the Postal Service basically refuses to respond with its postal police force. So
what are you hearing from other postal workers, from carriers?
Well, we've been, we're trying to work together with the other unions to put PPOs, postal police officers, back on the streets. They're frustrated. They don't understand, they're at risk. Postal workers deserve to feel safe at work. And they're at risk right now, and they don't understand why the Postal Service is not utilizing their postal police force.
Well, there's a new Congress now this year, Frank. Does that change anything for you? Are you expecting anything different?
Well, I'm hoping that Congress introduces a mail theft prevention bill, which includes the restoration of postal police authority, possibly appropriations for postal police hiring, stiffer penalties for mail theft and attacking a letter carrier. Also, possibly appropriations for technology. Right now, the Postal Service still uses this antiquated arrow key system. It's just a key. It can be easily stolen. It can be easily counterfeited. It gives access to all the blue collection boxes, all compartment panels, cluster boxes, relay boxes.
All right, Frank.